Year Up is a nonprofit organization that enables underrepresented young adults ages 18 to 24 to move from minimum wage jobs to meaningful careers in just 1 year by offering 6 months of technical and professional skills training followed by 6-month corporate internships. Year Up students have a high school diploma or GED, but for various reasons have not yet obtained a college degree. Year Up provides an opportunity for these talented and motivated young adults to gain the skills, experience, and network to launch their careers. While Year Up trains for skills needed across industries, today we are talking with 3 graduates working in technology.
My name is Emanuel Romero, and I am a software developer at Aaron's.
My name is Carmen Buezo. I'm a business intelligence developer at Bridgevine.
My name is Kevin Ngunjiri, and I'm a software test engineer at AutoTrader.
Here it is. What do you think?
It's gorgeous.
It's nice.
And it's so shiny.
And
Wow.
this is an AMG G63 Mercedes-Benz, otherwise known as a G-Wagon.
Yeah.
Wow, it's beautiful.
It's 560 horsepower twin turbo V8.
Wow.
So let's get in. You guys want to go for a ride?
Definitely.
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's get in. So Carmen, you're from Honduras, right?
Yes.
You came here just a couple years ago, right?
Yes, I actually moved here 2 years ago.
2 years ago from Honduras. So what brought you and your family here?
Better opportunities. At the time in Honduras, there was a lot of political unrest. So we had the opportunity to move here and we took it.
Okay. And then you got into the Year Up program like right away when you got here?
Yeah, it's funny because I was here for 4 months and I had no idea what I was going to do. I wanted to go to college, but I couldn't really afford it and had issues finding a job that would allow me to go to school at the same time.
How did you find Year Up? Like, who told you about it? Or...
So I went to this workshop that was talking about IT. I never was interested in IT before because I thought you had to be like a genius or super smart in order to work in IT.
Yeah. Or at least everybody says you have to be good at math at a minimum.
Yeah, good at math, have previous experience or something, and I was never exposed to it.
Yeah.
But I figured I would go to the workshop to see what they had to offer, and they talked about Year Up.
Okay. And then the rest you were hooked and you kept going and trying.
Yeah, I was in love with the program. It sounded phenomenal.
Yeah. Was college an option? Were you thinking about college?
I am still thinking about college. I couldn't at the time, but now that I'm an alumni, I definitely will be starting college next year.
All 3 of you were born somewhere else. So you were born in Honduras. Emmanuel, you were born in Mexico?
Yes.
And then Kevin, you were born in Kenya?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
And Emmanuel, you came here when you were like 2 years old, right?
I did, yes.
Okay. And wait, how old are you now?
25.
25, okay. And so you pretty much have been born and raised American. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school at Riverwood.
Yeah, I know Riverwood.
Yes, I went to high school there.
Yeah.
I wasn't a very great student, honestly.
Why do you say that?
Why? School was just, honestly, it was boring for me.
Okay.
It was like really, really boring. At that time, I didn't have any goals set for myself or anything like that.
Right.
It was just get up, go to school, things like that. But I think thinking about it now, I kind of regret not doing better in school.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't, because I wouldn't have been here. Before I came to Year Up, I was working at in a small cafeteria, like making coffee, cashier, and I just got tired of doing that every single day, and it was boring.
Yeah.
Right.
So you weren't thinking about college at that point?
No, I was not.
It wasn't an option? I mean, was it because financially not an option?
Financially not an option, yes.
And grades-wise, probably, maybe because it sounded like you weren't?
I think the most was just financially. They've always wanted me to, go to college, of course. But I've always thought about how much it costs, right?
Yeah.
Since I wasn't born in the U.S.,
Right.
I have to pay out-of-state tuition,
Right.
right? Which is like 2 times, maybe 4 times what the tuition is, for someone who's in-state.
Right. Right. Right.
And we really didn't have the money at the time to do that.
Yeah. So, it surprises me that when you say that you weren't a great student, and actually it surprises me and it doesn't surprise me, because on one hand, I felt like you, like all of you guys, one of the reasons I wanted to have you 3 in here is I felt like you were all, when I was teaching you guys, I felt like you were all great students. You were all, engaged and committed, and, you always came to, you were in class all the time, except if you had something else, you couldn't do it. And like, I felt, Emanuel, like you were always, it seemed like you were always ahead of the curve a little bit. Like you were always doing the work, and and you seemed really genuinely excited and interested in programming and coding and learning how to code. Like you really dove in, and it was. And the reason I say I'm kind of not surprised is because I also get what you're saying. Like I was a pretty good student in high school, but I wasn't a super great student in high school. At least not to the ability I think I had. I just wasn't that crazy excited about it in general. I would go and go through this stuff and whatever, but when I look back, I definitely could have been better. I just wasn't that inspired by it. But, so tell me, when you got into coding, what was it? I mean, did you find that you were more interested in that?
Yes, I think it's the challenge, I believe. The challenge of figuring out a problem. I think that's what really got me into software development.
And so do you still enjoy it now? You like what you're doing now?
Yes, I do. Honestly, there's really never a boring day at work, unless I'm not developing, of course.
Right. Well, that's one cool thing about software development and computer science that people don't really realize. It's really more like creative. Like you're really creating something. It's more like an art. You're really building something more so than a lot of people say you need to be good at math, and I think there's certain aspects of that true. Really it's more logic, but I think having the ability to want to solve problems and create things and build things is really more applicable than just being super smart at math. I mean, there's definitely some applications where you need a lot of math, but in general, that's not really the main skill I think you need to be successful. Kevin, how did you find out about Europe?
One of my friends, I kept telling him that I need to find something else because I was working at the warehouse at that time. And I realized for me to get to the next level, I needed some form of education. Because at that time I had gone from level 1 to level 3, which was the cap of the warehouse. Mm-hmm. And now I had to move from level 3 to either managerial or get inside the office, get out from the warehouse. So I talked to my friend and he was like, oh yeah, talk to my girlfriend. She's actually doing this program called Europe. And I ended up calling her the same day. She told me about Europe and I was like, yeah, sign me up. You don't even want to know? I say, if you're doing good, because with her, she had changed so much. You could tell from the way she dressed, from the way she took care of herself. Her character actually just changed because I knew her before she went to Europe, and now she's this official person. So I was like, yeah, sign me up. I called Europe, and that's how I ended up joining. So I got interested in IT, and when I came here, I looked into Code Academy, how building websites. I was curious about how website actually just works, and I got into Code Academy. So when I went to Europe and found out that they have a coding class, I was like, that's what I want. My role is to make sure that the features that we create are actually meet the requirements and to create code that tests that feature so that we don't have to keep manually testing it. You just run the code and it keeps running every day. If something is broken, then the code fails. Yeah. So then that will be a trigger that something is broken, something is not working like it's supposed to. So pretty much that's what I do, just
Okay.
write code to test code.
What do you guys like the most about working in a corporate environment now?
The impact, I would say, personally for me. I like being able to see what I do help other individuals, facilitate. My company, what we focus on is customer acquisition. So I like how we facilitate consumers the ability to get products. And I like being able to see my specific work, my reports, my data analysis, being able to improve that. There's never a day where I do the same thing every single day.